I never thought I'd be telling this story. Not because I'm ashamed of what I did, God knows I'm not, but because for 12 years I believed in something that never existed. My name is Robert Hayes, and I'm 52 years old, regional operations manager at a logistics company. The kind of job title that makes people's eyes glaze over at parties. The kind of man who fixes problems before anyone notices they exist. Invisible, reliable, forgettable. My first marriage taught me about betrayal. Caught my ex-wife in our bed with her personal trainer. How's that for a cliché? The divorce left me gutted, financially and emotionally. 7 years of solitude followed. 7 years of frozen dinners and empty weekends, convincing myself I preferred it that way. Then Linda happened. We met at a company barbecue 12 years ago. She wore a yellow sundress that caught the light when she laughed. Her daughter Sophie stood beside her, 12 years old, all knees and elbows and nervous energy. Linda's story came out over warm beer and potato salad. Single mother, ex-husband. Greg was an abusive drunk who'd vanished when Sophie was barely walking. "We're better off without him," she told me, her hand finding mine across the picnic table. "Some men just aren't meant to be fathers." I believed her. Every word. Sophie called me Dad without anyone asking her to. Just started one morning over breakfast, 6 months after Linda and I got married. "Dad, can you drive me to soccer practice?" she asked casually. The word hit me like lightning. I'd never had children of my own. Suddenly I had a daughter. I became everything Greg never was. Private school tuition, $28,000 a year. Orthodontics, $6,000. College at State University, $32,000 annually. Her first car, a sensible Honda Civic. The security deposit on her downtown apartment when she graduated. Every boyfriend who broke her heart. Every promotion at her marketing job. Every milestone. I was there. Linda stopped working after we married. "Someone needs to manage the home," she'd say, though Sophie was already a teenager who barely needed supervision. I never questioned it. This was my family, my redemption. Sophie got engaged last spring to James. Good kid, steady job as an accountant, the kind of eyes that actually look at you when he shakes your hand. When he asked for my blessing, I gave it without hesitation. When Sophie called to tell me he'd proposed, she was crying so hard I could barely understand her. "Thanks, Dad," she managed between sobs. "For everything. For being everything." Those words. God. Those words meant everything. The wedding planning started immediately. Sophie had Pinterest boards dating back to high school, garden ceremony, evening reception, string lights and white roses, the Whitmore estate, an hour outside the city. "It's perfect, Dad," she said, scrolling through photos on her phone. "But it's so expensive." "Nothing's too much for you, sweetheart," I replied. I meant it. Signed every contract, wrote every check. $15,000 for the venue, $8,000 for catering, $3,000 for flowers, the photographer, the band, the cake that cost more than my first car. For 3 months, I worked overtime, 60, 70-hour weeks, sleeping in my truck between shifts sometimes. Living on gas station coffee and vending machine dinners, Linda would text me photos from dress fittings, cake tastings, floral arrangements. "You're amazing, Robert," she'd write. "Sophie's so lucky to have you." I was exhausted. I was broke. I was happy. Tuesday evening came like any other, 3 days before the wedding. I was reviewing the final vendor payments when Linda and Sophie walked into the living room. They were holding hands, which should have been my first warning. Their faces wore that careful expression people get when they've rehearsed bad news in the mirror. "Dad," Sophie started, "we need to talk about the wedding." The words hung in the air like a blade about to fall. I set down my paperwork, tried to read their faces. Linda wouldn't meet my eyes. "I've been thinking a lot about Saturday," Sophie continued, her voice gaining momentum like she needed to get it all out before she lost her nerve, "about who I want to walk me down the aisle." I smiled, confused. "Cold feet? James is a good—" "No, Dad, it's not about James," she interrupted. She squeezed Linda's hand tighter. My chest went cold. I didn't know it then, sitting in that living room I'd paid for, looking at the two people I'd built my entire world around. But the next 60 seconds would erase 12 years. Everything I thought I knew, everything I thought I was to them, was about to crumble into dust. And honestly, looking back now from where I sit, free and clear and 3,000 miles away, they did me a favor. I want my biological father to walk me down the aisle. The words didn't register at first. They bounced off my brain like rain on glass, refusing to penetrate. I stared at Sophie's face, waiting for the punchline to a joke that wasn't coming. "What?" I asked. Sophie shifted on the couch, her engagement ring catching the lamplight. The ring I'd helped James pick out, the one I'd loaned him half the money for because he was just starting his career. "Dad, She stopped, started again. "Greg reached out to me a few months ago, through Facebook." Greg. The name was poison in my mouth. The drunk, the abuser, the ghost who'd abandoned them both. "He's changed, Dad," she continued. "He's been sober for 2 years. He goes to meetings, has a sponsor, the whole thing. He's in therapy. He has a job now, an apartment he wants to make amends." I looked at Linda, my wife, the woman I'd loved and trusted and provided for. She was studying her hands like they held the secrets of the universe. "You knew about this?" I asked her directly. She nodded, finally meeting my eyes. "He contacted me first, wanted permission to reach out to Sophie. I thought it would be good for her for closure." "Closure," I repeated, the word flat and mechanical. "And this closure includes him walking her down the aisle." "At the wedding I'm paying for," Sophie leaned forward, her eyes wide and pleading. "You've been my dad in every way that matters. You know that. You raised me, you loved me, you gave me everything. But Greg is my biological father. He made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but he's trying to make things right. I want to give him this chance." "This chance," I echoed. "After 12 years. After he left you both with nothing. After I—" "This isn't about money, Dad," Sophie cut in, her voice taking on an edge of irritation, like I was being unreasonable. "This is about healing, about forgiveness." "Forgiveness," I said. "And where do I stand? During this healing ceremony I'm financing?" Linda reached for my hand. I pulled it away. "You'll still be there," she said softly. "In the front row, as my husband, as Sophie's, as the man who raised her, as the man who raised her," I repeated. Not her father. The man who raised her. Like I was hired help whose contract was expiring. Sophie was crying now, those manipulative tears that had worked on me for 12 years. "Please, Dad. Please understand. This doesn't change anything between us." But it did. It changed everything. I saw it all so clearly in that moment. The truth of what I'd been to them. Not a father, not a husband, a wallet, a provider, a placeholder. Someone to pay the bills and fix the problems and work himself into the ground while they waited for the real father to get his act together. 12 years of private school while Greg was getting drunk. 12 years of birthday parties while Greg was in rehab. 12 years of love and sacrifice while Greg was finding himself. And now, with 3 days before the wedding I'd killed myself to pay for, they wanted me to step aside, to sit in the congregation and watch another man, the man who'd abandoned them, take the honor I'd earned. Something inside me broke, not dramatically, not violently. It simply stopped, like a watch that suddenly quits ticking. The love, the obligation, the need to provide and protect, gone, just like that. But my face stayed calm. 20 years in logistics teaches you to never show your hand when negotiations go south. "If that's what you want," I said evenly. Sophie's face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really? You're okay with it?" "Sure," I lied, smooth as silk. "Whatever makes you happy, sweetheart." She flew across the room, threw her arms around me. "Oh, Dad, thank you. Thank you for understanding. I knew you would. You always understand. Linda kissed my cheek, relief flooding her features. You're such a good man, Robert. So generous. Greg will be so grateful. Greg will be grateful for the wedding I paid for, the daughter I raised, the life I built while he was destroying his. They left 20 minutes later, chattering about dress alterations, about where Greg would stand during photos, about how emotional it would be when he saw Sophie in her wedding gown. They didn't notice I wasn't listening. They didn't notice my silence wasn't acceptance, it was calculation. I sat alone in the house for exactly 10 minutes after their car pulled away, staring at the wall, at the family photos I'd paid to have professionally taken, framed, hung with care, Sophie's graduation. Our family vacation to Disney World. Linda and Sophie laughing at my surprise 50th birthday party. All lies. Every smile, every "I love you, Dad," every Father's Day card, all of it performed for the man funding their lives while they waited for the real thing to return. I stood up, grabbed my keys, told myself I was going for a drive to clear my head. That's what a good, understanding man would do. Take a drive. Cool off. Come back ready to smile and support and pay for everything like always. Linda didn't question it when I left. Why would she? Robert always comes back. Robert always understands. Robert always bends. Not this time. I drove straight to my attorney's office. Margaret Sinclair had handled my contracts for 15 years. Sharp as a surgical knife, discreet as a priest, I walked in without an appointment at 8:47 p.m. "I need your help," I said, "and I need it done tonight." She looked at me, really looked at me, and must have seen something in my face that told her this wasn't a negotiation. "Sit down," she replied, pulling out a legal pad. "Tell me everything." By the time I was done talking, she was already making calls. By the time I left her office at 2 a.m., the architecture of my revenge was already under construction. They thought I went for a drive to clear my head. I did. But I wasn't clearing it of anger. I was clearing it of them. Margaret's office became my command center. While she worked the legal angles, I handled the practical destruction. The coffee was cold, the fluorescent lights harsh, but I'd never felt more awake in my life. "Start with the wedding," Margaret advised, sliding her laptop toward me. "You're the only name on every contract?" "Every single one," I confirmed. "Then legally you can cancel everything. They can sue for damages after, but by then?" She smiled, sharp and knowing. "By then, it won't matter." I pulled out my phone. It was nearly midnight, but most vendors had emergency lines. The venue first, the Whitmore Estate, where Sophie had dreamed of getting married since she was 16. "Whitmore Estate, this is Bradley," came the professional voice. "Bradley, this is Robert Hayes. I have the Hayes-Morrison wedding booked for Saturday." "Yes, Mr. Hayes. Everything's set for your daughter's big day," he responded cheerfully. "Cancel it," I interrupted. Silence. Then, "I'm sorry? Cancel the entire booking. The wedding is off," I stated firmly. "Sir, you'll forfeit the entire deposit. That's $15,000, and we can't refund any," he warned. "I understand. Cancel it," I repeated. "Mr. Hayes, may I ask?" he began. "No. Cancel it. Send confirmation to my email. Thank you." I hung up. The caterer was next. 8 in the evening in California meant it was past closing, but I had the owner's cell from when we'd negotiated the menu. "Tony, it's Robert Hayes," I said when he answered. "Robert, calling about the appetizers? We can still adjust," Tony offered eagerly. "Cancel the entire order," I cut him off. "What? The wedding's in 3 days," he exclaimed. "There is no wedding. Cancel everything," I instructed. "Robert, you're looking at a complete loss here. 8 grand. Gone," Tony warned. "Fine," I replied. "You can't be serious," he protested. "Send me written confirmation that it's canceled, tonight." I ended the call. The photographer, the florist, the band, The cake that cost $3,000 and had taken 4 consultations to design. The vintage Rolls-Royce that was supposed to drive Sophie and Greg, away from the reception. Every single thing I'd paid for, I systematically destroyed with a phone call. Some vendors argued, some pleaded. The cake decorator actually cried. Apparently, she'd been working on it for a week. I felt nothing. Each cancellation was another bar removed from my cage. By 1 a.m., the wedding was gone. Erased. Like it had never existed. Phase 2, Margaret announced, pulling up banking sites. Finances. This was trickier, but not impossible. The joint accounts were in both our names, but I was the primary. I could withdraw everything without Linda's signature. The credit cards were all under my account. Linda and Sophie were just authorized users. I moved methodically through each account, checking $47,000 transferred to my personal account. Savings, $73,000 moved. The emergency fund, $30,000 investment account, $120,000. Every penny I'd earned and saved over 12 years, pulled back to safety in 17 transactions. Then the credit cards. Linda's Visa, canceled. Her MasterCard, canceled. The American Express she used for shopping, canceled. Sophie's card for emergencies that somehow got used at Starbucks daily, canceled. Now the house, Margaret said. This was the masterstroke. The house was mine. Purchased before I married Linda, never added her to the deed despite her hints over the years. We're married, she'd say. What's yours is mine. But I'd always found excuses to delay the paperwork. Some instinct, maybe. Some small voice that warned me to keep one thing that was truly mine. I want it on the market tomorrow, I told Margaret. Price it to sell fast. Robert, that's your home, she started. It's a house. One I no longer want to live in, I corrected. She studied me for a long moment. You're really doing this. They made their choice. I'm making mine, I answered. By 3 a.m., I was back at the house, packing. I moved like a ghost through rooms where Linda and Sophie slept, unaware that their lives were already destroyed. I took only what mattered. Clothes, documents, the watch my father left me, photos of my parents. Everything else was contaminated by the lie I'd been living. I loaded my truck in the dark. 3 trips, quiet as a thief, though I was stealing nothing that wasn't already mine. The last load included my golf clubs. The ones Sophie had bought me for Father's Day 3 years ago. I almost left them, then decided I'd earned them. Paid for them myself, really, since my money had funded her gift-giving. I stood in the driveway at 4 a.m., looking at the house one last time. The kitchen window where Sophie used to wait for me to come home from work. The porch where Linda and I had slow danced on our anniversary. The garage where I'd taught Sophie to drive. All of it poison now. All of it lies. I got in my truck and drove west. No destination in mind, just away. The sun rose behind me as I crossed the state line, and I didn't stop except for gas and coffee. My phone started ringing around noon. Linda, probably wondering why her card was declined at lunch. I didn't answer. By evening, I was 500 miles away when my phone exploded with calls and texts. I finally answered on Linda's 20th attempt. Robert, my card isn't working and the bank says, she started frantically. I closed the accounts, I interrupted. Silence. Then, quietly, what? I withdrew everything from our joint accounts. Canceled your cards. Sophie's too, I explained calmly. Robert, what are you talking about? Are you having some kind of breakdown? Where are you? She demanded. I also canceled the wedding, I added. You, what? She gasped. Every vendor, every reservation, gone. If Greg wants to walk Sophie down the aisle, he can pay for the aisle, I stated. Her voice went shrill. The wedding is in 3 days. Then Greg better get busy, I replied. Robert, you can't do this. What about Sophie? This will destroy her, she screamed. She made her choice. She chose the man who abandoned her over the one who raised her. Actions have consequences, I explained. This is insane, You're destroying everything over your wounded pride? She accused. No, I'm done paying for a family that was never mine, I corrected. I'm calling a lawyer, she threatened. Good. Call one. Margaret Sinclair is mine. She's very good. Oh, and Linda, the house goes on the market tomorrow. It's in my name only, remember? You might want to start packing, I informed her. You can't, she started. I can. I am. Don't call me again. I hung up and blocked her number. Sophie called 30 seconds later from her phone. I almost didn't answer, then decided she deserved to hear it from me. Dad, what are you doing? Mom's crying. She says you canceled everything, she began, hysteria in her voice. I did, I confirmed. Why? Because of Greg? Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, she pleaded. Yes, you did. You knew exactly what you were doing, I countered. That's not true. I love you, Dad. You're my father, she insisted. No, I'm the man who raised you. Your words. Greg is your father. Let him act like it, I reminded her. Please, Dad, come back. You can walk me down the aisle. Both of you can. Please, she begged. I laughed, bitter, harsh. Both of us, like some participation trophy. No thanks. I'll tell Greg no. It'll just be you. Please, Daddy. She tried desperately. Too late, Sophie. You showed me what I really am to you. The wallet, the provider, the placeholder. Well, this placeholder is done, I declared. That's not true. You're everything to me, she sobbed. If that were true, this conversation wouldn't be happening, I pointed out. Please. The wedding. All my friends are coming. This will humiliate me, she whispered. Then ask Greg to fix it. He's your real father, remember? I said coldly. Dad, she started again. Don't call me that anymore. And don't call me again. I hung up and blocked her number too. The phone rang constantly after that. Unknown numbers, Linda's friends, Sophie's friends, probably Greg himself. I turned it off and drove through the night windows down, cold air slashing at my face, the radio playing songs I'd never heard before. For the first time in 12 years, I felt nothing for them. No anger, no sadness, no guilt. Just free. By dawn, I was in Arizona. The desert stretched endless and empty, and I felt like I could breathe for the first time since Sophie had said those words. My phone stayed off for 3 days. When I finally turned it on, there were 247 missed calls, 189 texts, and 73 voicemails. I deleted them all without reading or listening to a single one. They called 47 times that first week, using different numbers, trying to trick me into answering. I never did. By week 2, the calls slowed. By month 3, they stopped completely. By then, I'd stopped counting, stopped caring, stopped looking back. 6 months later, and I'm sitting on a canyon rim in Sedona, watching the sun paint the rocks red and gold. My phone buzzes, a text from Margaret. House sold, $620,000. After fees, $580,000 deposited to your account. Hope you're well. I am well. Better than I've been in years. The house sold in 2 weeks, price to move, just like I wanted. Combined with my savings and retirement accounts, I'm sitting on roughly $700,000, more than enough for a man who's learned to live simply, who's learned what actually matters. I've been traveling. Montana for a month, where the sky is bigger than God. Colorado, where I hiked trails I'd only seen in magazines when I was too busy working to take vacations. New Mexico, with its alien landscapes and green chili everything. Now Arizona, where the desert teaches you that life finds a way even in the harshest conditions. Small towns, mostly. Places where nobody knows who I am or what I left behind. Motels with clean sheets and functioning coffee makers are all I need. Diners where the waitresses call you honey and the pie is made fresh daily. I've lost 15 pounds and gained something harder to measure. Peace, maybe, or just the absence of constant obligation. My old neighbor Tom sends updates occasionally. I never asked him to, but he does anyway. Heard the wedding got canceled last minute. Total chaos. People showed up to an empty venue. A month later. Greg disappeared again when he found out there was no money. Lasted about 2 weeks. Then, Linda's working at Target now. Sophie's waitressing at that place on 5th Street. I don't respond to Tom's messages, but I don't block him either. There's something satisfying about knowing they're struggling, that they're finally experiencing what life is like without someone else paying for everything. Another text from Tom, 3 months after I left. Sophie came by looking for you, cried on my porch, kept saying she was sorry. Sorry. Such a small word for such a big betrayal. I delete the message and order another beer. The bartender here knows my name, Robert, but nothing else. Doesn't know I once had a daughter who wasn't really mine, a wife who saw me as a means to an end, a life that looked perfect from the outside and was rotten at its core. You hiking Cathedral Rock tomorrow? The bartender asks me. Thinking about it, I reply. Beautiful trail, tough climb, but worth it for the view, he comments. Worth it. I think about that phrase a lot now. What's worth it and what isn't? 12 years of sacrifice for people who traded me in the moment a better option appeared? Not worth it. This sunrise, this beer, this freedom? Worth everything. My phone rings. Unknown number with my old area code. I let it go to voicemail, then delete it without listening. Could be Linda or Sophie using a friend's phone, could be Greg, looking for money. Could be anyone from that old life. Doesn't matter. That life is dead. I've been dating someone. Nothing serious. Michelle, a massage therapist from Durango who's passing through. We've had dinner twice, coffee 3 times. She asked why I'm traveling alone. Needed a fresh start, I told her. Bad divorce? She asked. Something like that, I answered. She didn't push. That's the beauty of starting over. You only owe people the truth you choose to give them. You have kids? She asked on our 3rd coffee date. No, I said, and meant it. Another text from Tom. Sophie got engaged again. Different guy. Courthouse wedding this time. Courthouse wedding. No big estate, no $3,000 cake, no vintage Rolls Royce, no father to pay for it all. I wonder if she asked Greg to walk her down the aisle at the courthouse. I wonder if he even showed up. I don't wonder for long. The sun drops behind the canyon walls, and the temperature drops with it. Desert nights are cold, another thing I've learned in my new life. I zip up my jacket, finish my beer, leave a good tip. Back at my motel, I open my laptop and check my accounts. The money's all there, growing slowly in conservative investments. Enough to last me 20 years if I'm careful, 30 if I'm smart. I'm both now. I think about Linda sometimes, working retail at 48, scanning groceries, dealing with angry customers, standing on her feet for 8 hours, all the things she thought she was too good for when my money was flowing. I think about Sophie, carrying plates to tables of people who won't remember her face 5 minutes after they leave the college degree I paid for, apparently not worth much without someone funding her lifestyle. Do I feel guilty? No. Do I miss them? I miss who I thought they were, but those people never existed. My phone buzzes. Email from Margaret. Hope you're enjoying your travels. Thought you should know. Linda tried to contest the house sale. Judge threw it out. She also tried to claim alimony. Denied. Abandonment clause in your prenup held up. Prenup. Thank God for Margaret's insistence 12 years ago. Linda had pouted about it. Don't you trust me? But I'd held firm. The one smart thing I did in that whole relationship. I close the laptop, turn off the lights, listen to the coyotes calling in the distance. Tomorrow I'll hike Cathedral Rock. Next week, maybe the Grand Canyon next month, Utah or Nevada or California. The point is, I get to choose. Every day, every decision, every dollar spent. My choice. I think about what Sophie said in one of her voicemails I deleted. You're going to die alone. Maybe. But I'd rather die alone and free than live surrounded by people who see me as nothing more than a bank account with a heartbeat. I close my eyes and sleep comes easy. No stress, no worry about bills or tuition or wedding costs. Just sleep, deep and dreamless and earned. 1 year now. I'm in Taos, New Mexico, in a coffee shop that makes the best green chile breakfast burrito I've ever had. The same booth every morning, the same waitress who knows I take my coffee black. No sugar, no small talk before the caffeine hits. My phone, a new one, new number, no connections to the past, buzzes with a text from Tom, still sending updates I didn't ask for. Linda moved in with her sister, still working retail. Sophie married that guy, living in a studio apartment. Thought you should know. I don't respond, but I don't block him either. The house sold for $620,000. After Margaret's fees and closing costs, I netted $580,000. Combined with my savings and retirement accounts, I'm sitting on well over $700,000. I'm financially secure for the foreseeable future, especially living simply in small towns where cost of living is low. I think about the wedding that never happened, about Sophie in her dress walking down an aisle that no longer existed, looking for a father, either one, who wasn't there. I wonder if she understands now what she threw away. Probably not. People rarely do. I think about Linda, working retail at 48, no longer able to coast on my income. About the joint accounts she took for granted, the credit cards that stopped working, the house she assumed was hers. She made her choice too, siding with Sophie, orchestrating the healing that required Robert's erasure. Robert doesn't feel guilty. He feels light, unburdened. The anger is gone now, replaced by something calmer. Acceptance, clarity. I've hiked the Rockies, watched storms roll across the desert, sat in diners listening to strangers' stories. I've dated a woman in Durango, nothing serious, just coffee and conversation and honesty. She asked once why I moved west. Needed a fresh start, I said. She didn't push. That's the thing about starting over. You only owe people the truth you want to give. His phone buzzes. Tom again. Sophie got engaged. Different guy. Courthouse wedding. Thought you'd want to know. I don't respond, but I think, good for her. Hope this one doesn't need a father figure who pays for everything. I finish my coffee, tip well, walk out into the New Mexico sun. The mountains rise blue and distant. The air smells like juniper and freedom. I'm 53 years old. I've got years ahead of me, and they're mine now. Not Linda's, not Sophie's, mine. If you're reading this and you see yourself in my story, if you're the one who provides, who sacrifices, who bends until you break, hear me, walk away. The world's a big place. It's waiting for you. Don't let people use you. Don't let them take your love for granted. And when they show you who they really are, when they look you in the eye and tell you you're replaceable, believe them. Then leave. I don't regret the 12 years. I regret staying 12 minutes after Sophie asked for Greg. But I learned. I chose myself. And I've never looked back. To freedom. To second chances. To the life you build when you finally put yourself first. I close my laptop, pack my bag, and head for the road. Next stop, Santa Fe. After that, who knows? The point is, it's my choice now.